All right, it's 6:30, so let's go ahead and get started. If you could all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please silence your phones, and we'll have 30 seconds of silence. Okay, thank you. Welcome to the October 25th Blockhouse Mud meeting. Nice to see everyone here this evening. Glad you can make it, Shoemaker. We're going to move a couple things around. We'll start with citizens communication and then the consent items. We're going to go ahead and then go into Deputy Lovato Wilco Sheriff's number 6 at 18A, which is David Gray. So they can get on and do what they need to do. And then if Sandy's here, we'll go into Blockhouse Honor Association. Is there any other suggestions for moving things around on the agenda? Okay. Citizens communication. I have one here from Steve, Mr. Overcasher. If anyone else would like to speak, I think you're the only citizen here, so welcome.
Thank you. Good evening once again. My name is Steve Overcasher and I reside at 16520 J Stone Drive. You will recall that I was here on August 30th to discuss the condition of the fences in our neighborhood and inquire about the current contractual agreement with your general manager, Ms. Torres. On September 13th, I received messages from your president, Ms. Logan, giving me some information I was concerned about. She explained that the fence was going to be addressed, specifically repairs to sections that were so far gone that a coat of paint would not fix the problem. This afternoon, I drove around the Creek Run and Blockhouse Drive perimeters to observe for myself what has been completed. There are about 5 to 6 miles of fence, not always on both sides, but they make up the fencing the mud is responsible for. In feet, that represents nearly 30,000 feet of linear fencing. Of that total, less than 300 has been repaired, which represents a 1% of the total fencing. Since this is everything you've accomplished in the last 8 weeks since I was last here, I can only imagine how long it's going to take to get the fences fixed or painted. As I said last time, these fences are the first and lasting impression that guests and residents in this community have as they enter and drive around the community. The fences are much more than an amenity. They provide for the safety and security of our homes and families, and I strongly encourage you to elevate the priority for these fences, as the longer you wait, the more the sections will fail and your burden will only grow. Regarding Ms. Torres' contract, Ms. Logan said that my information regarding the contract was incorrect. Her suggestion to resolve this is if I wanted to go see the details, I should go back and review the meeting videos to see the details of when the contract was discussed and approved. She was not the least bit helpful, nor did she provide approximate dates for said meetings. As my elected representative, I am disappointed in this poor constituent service. I have here a Texas Public Information Act request form that I will submit to you, and if you do not respond within 30 days, I will be taking this issue to the Attorney General. I want to see the contract. Please don't get the impression that I don't understand the challenges and obligations you face. I served on the Services District Board years ago, and therefore know that if the community does not bring items to your attention and demand action, it is sometimes easier for you to go your own way. When it comes to the fences and the contract, I am not going away.
Okay, thank you. Any other citizens communication?
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to number 2, the minutes for August 30th and September 6th and September 27th. Do I have a motion to approve?
A motion?
Second.
Any discussion items? Okay, I have one on August 30th. At one point it mentions that I did something. I was not at the meeting, so it just needs to be switched to Director Shoemaker. So with that edit, everyone in favor?
Aye.
Any against?
I wasn't here, I believe, on one of these,
The last one.
27.
It says you weren't, yeah.
So, yeah, just note that as well, so when I vote for it, I do have anything to look at except for the recording.
Okay, did you get a chance to look at the recording?
I did, but it's so arduous to look at the recording. It takes a long time to listen to it.
Okay, good. So that passed, and I see Sandy walking in. So let's grab her as soon as she walks in.
Hi, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy. Ms. Martin, would you like to give your report, or would you like to sit down and relax for a second?
Oh.
Come on in.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So the weekend, the 14th, the first weekend of October, that we had the pumpkin patch open the first day. We had a great pumpkin patch, decorating and all of that was all decorated. And then we had the camp out the same night. And it was awesome. We had more people participate than we've ever had participate. We think the pumpkin patch really helped.
In the movie, you had a movie.
And we had two movies. We had it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and a Goosebumps movie. So we had a lot of people. It was really good. Went really well. We have disc golf the 28th, the evening kind of disc golf event for the midnight, for the full moon. That should be very interesting. We have the last stop haunt is the 30th and 31st, which is a Monday and Tuesday. Our annual meeting is November 11th at the pavilion. Sign-in starts at 9:30. We tried to get enough proxies this year to meet our quorum, but we're not sure that's gonna happen. But anyway, that's when the meeting will be. And I think that's all I have.
Great, thank you, Sandy.
Jenny, I do have a question. So is the patrols aware that this is a night,
Yes.
goes into midnight?
Doesn't go to midnight.
Okay.
Doesn't remember, I just saw, I think, Amy, did you send me, or, Amy, I'm sorry, Ms. Torres, did you just send me an email today about it, or Amy did?
Yes, Robert did, and I
Oh,
replied to it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
It goes till 10.
Okay, I hadn't had a chance to look at it since I was teaching all day.
Yeah. Great. Okay, let's go on to Deputy Lovato, number 6.
Nothing really to report, other than Deputy Cantu is going to be leaving, just from his kid standpoint, he's got so much going on. The timesheets, Deputy Hippert was having problems with his computer, so he just got them to me today, but again, I was teaching all day, so I'll get that turned in at the end of the month. The other deputy hasn't responded back to me, so that's gonna be another issue that I have to deal with. But as soon as I get them, I'll make sure that they're turned in at the end of the month, dailies and timesheets.
Great, thank you. Wonderful. I don't know if this is under 6, but I guess we could say, the subcommittee met with Deputy Lovato and Chief David. We had a really good, productive meeting. So we're looking forward to moving forward. We're gonna do monthly subcommittee meetings, and I think we're gonna try to do Monday early, whatever works best with your schedule. So we're looking forward to that. We did discuss town hall, so we'll probably work on that next month on the timing, and have a town hall for everyone. And Deputy Lovato and Chief David suggested doing it annually, so I think that's a good thing. We also discussed, like at the disc golf event or other OA events, is maybe having a table with a Wilco representative. We used to do that a long time ago, like, I can't remember the guy's name again, it started with a K, but he kind of was behind the watch program.
Deputy Cardell.
Yes, yes, so we're gonna continue to work on that, and you guys are so well received when you come out to events, especially with the dog and different things, so we're gonna continue on having a positive presence with Wilco out here. And I did meet your deputy during the large trash drop-off and talked to him for a little bit, and he's a great guy, so.
And also I want to applaud them for the Boy Scouts. You brought the SWAT vehicle out and it was really well received. So
Yeah, he
it's really nice.
reported on that last month.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was well
They
received.
reported on when they had the folks, when they had the folks out at the back to school bash. Like I think every year agrees it's good when they're like, people come like it when y'all are there. So we appreciate y'all coming and doing it.
And we enjoy doing it too, I mean, we want them to see us as
people and not just
Mhm.
cops that pull their parents over all the
There you
time.
go.
You guys are part of the community, definitely, so thank you, Deputy Lovato.
Yeah.
Okay, Sandy, you need water? Okay, 18A, which is David Gray.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I appreciate the board's indulgence in allowing me to go a little early tonight. I'll follow up with your general manager to see if I miss anything after the meeting after I leave tonight.
Okay.
A couple items. The report is on page 105 of your electronic packet. A couple items under general. You may recall I reported previously that the city of Cedar Park has embarked upon an investigation of floodplain improvements on Blockhouse Creek upstream of the district between 1A, 3A, and further to the west. There's no update on that, no substantive update. They're in the process of evaluating. I will follow up and see if I can get a more specific report as to where they are. Our concern, I think, is to make sure that whatever they do, it does not adversely affect the quality of the creek and the flows of the creek downstream through our district. But they've been very cooperative. The NFM site has occupied a large part of our attention for the last 30 days. We did meet with the board's subcommittee on that, as well as your legal counsel, and talk about several issues. The representatives of NFM have been very responsive in responding to our questions, specifically primarily about the storm drainage. Their plan from day one has been to tie their storm drainage system into our system. As I previously reported, our system was designed to accept pre-development flows from those sites, not post-development. And they have, the NFM engineers have provided sufficient information where we have satisfied ourselves that their plans will reduce the developed flows to a pre-developed flow level in order to tie into and use our system without an adverse effect on the storm drainage system. Now, that's not a sign off on their final construction plans. That's just, it's a concept. And we did report that back to them as well as we reported that to the city of Cedar Park engineering staff, who had asked us that question, okay? NFM has proceeded with their project through the city. They received a preliminary subdivision plat approval earlier this month at the Planning Commission. I understand that there was some communication issues with the city's system where we couldn't necessarily perhaps enjoy that as much as we might otherwise. It's a subdivision approvals are statutory. They're not like zoning cases where you have discretionary approval. And their subdivision plat ultimately met all the statutory requirements without variance. So the Planning Commission did act on it. It goes back to Planning Commission in November. That's only the subdivision plat. Once that's approved, that'll sit on the site until they come back, go through their site plan. Their site plan shows all the details that I think that we're interested in. It will also demonstrate the details that we'll be focused on going forward regarding water quality discharge from that site. Remind the board that that site is subject to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality Edwards Aquifer rules, and we'll have to comply with those regulations. We'll be working with the subcommittee and legal counsel. I think between now and the next board meeting, there are a couple of other outstanding items that we want to make progress on with NFM. And so we'll be coordinating with y'all on that in Sean's office too. So that's a kind of a lot of words. Yes, sir.
I just want to confirm something you said. So
Yes, sir.
I realize we need to see the final plans, of
Yes,
course,
sir.
but from what we've seen, we're as confident as we can be, it will not have a negative impact on our drainage.
Yes, sir. In
Give
terms
us-
of the flows. Yes,
the
sir.
flows,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Absolutely. And they were, the NFM's been cooperative. We had a series of meetings to get that information. They made a few changes. We made a few comments. They came back and we satisfied ourselves and let them know that. So, yes, sir.
Thank you.
One last item, I apologize for dragging on, but it's me, so you'd expect that. I did receive from your general manager I guess it's a request, it's a letter. It's from GSS Inc. I have no idea who they are, but nevertheless, they appear to be representing Vertical Bridge, which apparently is in the process of locating suitable sites for cell phone towers in this area. And they have tentatively identified the area to this side of the Walker House is one of their sites. It's higher in the district. This side of the district's a little higher, so their antennas can be lower. You own it, so they would negotiate with you. There's some open space. You can argue about how much open space there is. And basically, essentially just said, we're interested, if you'd like to talk, let us know. I did discuss that with your board president a little bit. Options, other places, the district, really, there's not a great place, in my opinion. That's subject to board policy about how you want to pursue that. They would be offering, at least on the face of it, they would be offering approximately $9,600 per year on a 50-year lease. I've had some experience with cell phone towers. We all see them. We love them when they work and we hate them when they don't. But nevertheless, they're, I don't know how high this would be necessarily. The site would be approximately 100 by 100 feet. It would be fenced. It would have to have full-time, all-weather access, 24/7, so that's just something to be considered. You don't put them out there and forget about them. They have to have access to them. They do generate some revenue, but they are, they're not humming or anything like that. They're not like power lines or pump stations or things like that, but they, they are, I guess, an intrusion, if you will, a little bit into your open spaces. Since really your open spaces are parks, I'm not sure how y'all feel about this. I have not responded to this. I'm just bringing it to the board's attention. Like I said, President Logan and I visited about this. I suspect we'll be visiting some more about it. I will not respond until we have a chance to visit some more, either with the full board or through a subcommittee, as y'all direct me to. And thank you, Lisa.
Can I ask a quick question?
Of
Did they
course.
give you any kind of timeline on when they'd like to hear a response from us, or any kind of timeline, period, right?
No timeline specified whatsoever.
So David, would you go ahead and email that to the general manager, and she can send it to the rest of the
I
board? So
think Lisa has it.
okay, would you send that to the entire board?
Yeah.
And then we'll go ahead and put it on the November agenda, so we can discuss it. It is $500,000 over 50 years.
$480,000.
Yeah, so, that's something to consider, I don't think anybody wants in Thomaston, but we won't discuss it tonight, we'll discuss it in November.
Yeah, just bring it to y'all's attention, I appreciate it. Unless you have any questions or comments, I'm going to slip out and get ready to drive in the rain to Fort Worth tomorrow.
Well, please be careful.
Yes, be
I
safe.
do want to add just one thing,
Of
you
course.
touched on it, but the planning and zoning meeting where Director Shoemaker and I did log on, and we tried to watch that
Mhm.
remotely. They were having some sound issues, but they could see that we were both participants. So not only could Nebraska Furniture Mart, but also the city planning and zoning could see that we were on there.
Did they have a reason why their audio?
No, they
quit?
didn't have a good reason. Actually, they didn't really even
No.
acknowledge that they had issues.
Yeah, I've been trying to track down the source of their issues with no luck.
Okay.
So I think you and I will need to go there in person next time,
Yeah.
and then we can bring that up.
And I'll be
And I
sure-
suggest we flag it for them, because if they had open meetings items on their agenda, they might have a problem.
Yeah.
So, trying to be good neighbors.
Sure, yeah, great. Thank y'all very
Yeah,
much, and I'll
thank
be
you.
reaching out to the subcommittee on the NFM site stuff. too.
Yes,
Thank you.
yeah, we'll get a meeting scheduled here.
Great, thank
Okay.
y'all very much.
Great, thank you, and
Thank you.
have safe
Drive
travels.
safe.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, let's continue on. Directives from the general manager.
We did have, thank you, Director Logan, we did have one directive, both Sean and I, that was a letter to CDMP. Sean did create that email and did send that over to Erin Gray. She did receive that email and did respond. And so we should expect that would be completed.
Okay, good.
Moving on, you'll be able to see that my memo is actually in the report. I would like to bring to y'all's attention that we do have the mistletoe market that will be here at the Walker House on November the 9th, 10th, and 11th. We do have the garden cleanup that's scheduled for November the 18th. I also have in here, we did have some pool items that we did get taken care of. During the pool items that were done, we did have the decking completed. However, we did have our subcontractor hit a line. So Pro Aquatics did come out, they did do those repairs. And we will be back charging Dig Dug for that. Pro Aquatics was also able to repair some pool lighting, so that was taken care of as well. The pergola has been removed and all things were turning out great there. We did have Cothran's come out, so we're working on some keying issues so that we can get all of the doors and everything up to par for the Williamson County Fire Chief to come out and do his inspection. Tidal Waves is actually going to be coming out and installing a new logo, so we're excited to work with them and have that out on the new decking as well. Moving on, we do have one item that has come up. We did have some heating repairs that needed to take place out of the Apache pool. The repairs did require a proposal of $4,552 that was actually approved by the amenities subcommittee. I just wanted to bring that to you all's attention. You will hear from Mark with Premier Recreation that the tarp out there is quite tattered, and we are expecting for Pro Aquatics to send us a proposal. I'll bring that to the board next month, and we'll look at the agenda, the budget itself, and see if we can go ahead and get that approved for next year. Moving on, you'll be able to see that we did have some installation of Empire Fence doors at the tennis courts, and we are actually waiting on those repairs, given that we've had some weather, and he needs to get a good day of dry weather in order for him to be able to complete those repairs. Further down, you'll see that we had Cedar Park Fire. I actually did email you all over today the call of services, and that's blind copies for you all to read later if you haven't had a chance already. In services, we did have the monument at the entrance of 0183. That lighting out there has been repaired. We found that it was old conduit that actually had been cut, and so that's been repaired and taken care of. We did have our first fencing replacement. You all approved it last month. Sagamore Fence did come out. I did provide those addresses for you all. The majority of them were on Lone Wolf and Jadestone. We do have a estimate today, estimate 7083, and that's for the repairs at 700 House Creek at $4,550. That I'll need approval on.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve 7083 Sagamore Fence and Deck for $45.50?
On motion?
Second.
Any discussion? What I will say is that there was a process for this whole fence repair, and actually I think you've done an outstanding job. You had to go in and look at several bids, have people come out, do the research, do the walking, and then you had to bring it to the board, and then we had to prove it, and then you had to go schedule it. So I don't think we could have done it any faster. I think they did a great job. I hope you guys have gone around and looked at Creek Run. I'm sure David, and probably because you can live over there too. They really, have you seen it, Cecilia?
The quality of the fencing is much improved. I mean,
Yeah, and how they kind of went around, they kind of did a little differently with some of the trees there. So I don't think we're gonna see
Look
some
at that yet.
issues. Yeah, so-
Stained it too? Did they
not
stain
yet. Yeah, we'll stay in it all probably at the same time, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, but they really did, I think, a great job. So, and we'll continue to do that. When we get to bills and invoices, we'll talk about, there's another a fund that we'd set up a couple of years ago. So there actually may be additional dollars that we can put in towards this project.
well, and I think one thing I think you brought up here, giving it some city communication on, is also that, the prior efforts on the fence have been these kind of do it all at once, try to replace it all, and it's a wasting asset, right? It has to be maintained, and it's kind of like doing anything that requires maintenance. If you constantly make a point to always replace everything at once, you're gonna have it kind of all run down at once, have these really large expenditures that don't fit with your cash flow, whereas honestly, I think this is probably what it should have always been treated, is it's an ongoing expense, and that we're gonna always have to just kind of going around and hitting each panel. Yes, as the way wear out, we're gonna have to come back, but if we actually get on a cycle of replacing these things, where we can actually get them all, where they're all kind of up to speed, and then replace them as they wear out, then it won't be like it is currently, where there's huge sections that are dilapidated. Because that's the one problem with this, it's block obsolescence, right? You buy 100, you buy 100 cars, right? For all the same year, they're all gonna wear out. It happens at the state all the time, right? They get money to buy 20 cars, they all fail at like 15 years out, and they show up like, I need $6 million, instead of coming we need to buy 3 cars and 4 cars. And so I don't think it's wise to try to replace this all at once when it creates a bottleneck in the budget. And then it leaves us with these problems of like, well, the whole thing has to be replaced, it would be an ongoing thing, so.
Yes,
That's a good question.
Director Johnson.
I was just gonna make a comment to that. I don't know that I agree with you, Director Shoemaker, simply because you're just patching it and parts of it look good, the rest of it look really bad. I think the philosophy of getting it all done and maintaining it as it breaks down, because the problem is that it has not been kind of regularly maintained. So I disagree. I mean, you need it to look uniform, and it doesn't look uniform, it looks checkerboard right now, so.
Okay, Director Johnson?
Lisa, I wasn't here at the last meeting either, so are the approvals that, well, from last time, are they address by address, or is it sections of fence?
We're trying, well, initially we were gonna do 200 linear square feet of fencing.
Okay.
Now that we know that we do have the approval that we are going to go with Sagamore fencing, they've done an outstanding job in regards to communication, so I do wanna throw that into the timeline. We had to actually go out, meet with every resident, let them know that the fence was gonna be taken down. Several residents have pets, we need to accommodate, and what we tried to do was do that in one fell swoop of 200 linear feet. What you will see at the November meeting is actually more than 200 linear feet, roughly more of a $20,000 bid or proposal, if you will, to keep us under, and at the same time allow for us to do just a little bit more linear footage to be able to knock out a little bit larger of a section. What we're trying to also do is, Creek Run was a really dilapidated area that needed a lot of attention. What we're also gonna do with Sagamore Fence is go around and try and see if we can pinpoint some really extreme fencing that needs to be managed right away. And what we're not doing is just repairing. We actually are finding that the footings are really in bad repair, and so we wanna go ahead and replace all of those. So we actually are replacing as opposed to just repairing. I wanna mention also that Sagamore Fence, I actually did find them through the contractor that actually makes the staining for the district. And so they came highly recommended. So what they will do is work with the staining company that actually had created that particular stain. They are local now here in the Austin area, so we do anticipate for them to actually give us a price cut because we have gone with somebody that they've recommended. So once we do get into the staining, all of that will be done at the same time. In the meantime, it will look like a little bit of a checkerboard, unfortunately, but we also are waiting for the cooler weather. I'm understanding as we're going along that staining is done better in a cooler weather, and it actually does last longer as opposed to during a heat and humid time frame. So we will start working on that soon as well.
So what is in the CAP for actually not getting into the bidding process? I mean, how are we gonna get around that? Because it's real obvious we're doing patches and patches. It could give a perception that we have a bigger project and we're just giving it out little pieces at a time. So illegally, are we
Sean, could you
protected
address
with
that?
that, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, each project is bid individually. If you're in the 25 to 150K window, it's not a competitively bid requirement that kicks in at that point. It's just soliciting additional bids, which I think is what we did with the first time.
We did that in the
So,
beginning.
yeah.
Yeah, we
And
did
it got
it.
us in trouble last time, so that's the only reason why I asked that, because we went over that. And so just as long as we're within the law, that's what I'm asking, so.
I assume Lisa's showing y'all are monitoring our expenditures on this project. I mean, you know.
So, Ms. Torres, thank you for bringing up the one other aspect that you just can't turn this over and do it all at one time and just overnight, everybody sees it's done, is that they have done an outstanding job talking to the residents, because people do have pets. And so they do, and they've gone in, they've talked to every single resident that was impacted at that time, and they'll continue to do that, which I think is great. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Quick question, the concrete barrier between 183A and our district are we responsible for maintaining that at all, at any time? So there's nothing for us to consider there? Okay, great.
See, Charlie.
Okay, we voted on the proposal, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Pretty much,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Robert made a motion, I seconded it.
Okay, all in
Yeah.
favor? No,
Aye.
discussion, aye. Okay,
I did have one more item. I
Sure.
have a reservation that I need approval for. We have one resident that's looking at reserving the pavilion on December the 2nd for a birthday party of more than 50 people.
motion to approve,
Motion.
second,
Second.
any
I'm
discussion?
sorry, what's the, like, I would like Lisa to be able to make that decision on her own, but if it goes over 50, I'm guessing that's when it needs full board approval?
I believe that's the case. That's the reason I
Okay.
brought it, because it was a little bit bigger of a.
Okay, so more than 50 is kind of vague, it could be 500,000. if it's 50.
They know it's not over 100, so
Okay.
they wanted to let us know that there were at least gonna be 50 people that would be enjoying.
Okay, 50 to 100.
I mean, I think it's where we appreciate the folks being honest, they're bringing a lot of folks, you know.
But it's no more than 50.
No more than 50.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, anything else from Lisa?
That's all I have right now.
Okay, number 7, PR Communications Subcommittee.
We actually did not have a PR and subcommittee meeting. We are working at trying to reschedule that due to some conflict. We will bring that back to you all. I do have the subcommittee currently looking at the newsletter, and we will wait for them to make that decision.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Transparency, I don't think we have anything on that. Resident survey, do we have an update, Johnson and Young?
We'll be bringing the draft questions to the board in November.
Okay, so,
We're meeting, early next week. We're gonna get a draft to Lisa. I wanna get a draft to all the directors from Lisa. They can all give their feedback directly to Lisa, and then I wanna get it into the, November, so that, residents can do their last chime in, and then, let's go to the next phase, and that's collecting data from residents.
okay, great, in
I'm
our,
sorry, Director Logan, 1 second. From a walking quorum perspective, if we give the questions to Lisa, she gives them to everybody, and we get feedback back, are we still good, or
It's okay, yeah.
that's okay?
okay, in our bills and invoices meeting, we did come up, you were on that call. Okay, so you heard that we did have a suggested survey question,
Yes.
so will you take that to the guys and?
I will.
Okay, thank you. Okay, restricted covenants, report from Cam, they're not here, so guys, Lisa, you're up.
Nothing sorry,
No, you're fine.
nothing nothing that needs the board's attention right now,
Yeah, we're working on some things, but nothing that's the point of being to the board about it.
May I make a comment?
please.
I noticed in it, there's just a lot of maintenance that's not being done. I mean, the yards aren't being mowed and they're not even being edged. I mean, it's pretty bad.
There are, and we've been talking,
I don't
am I
know.
okay? Yeah,
Yeah, we're,
Well, yeah, we're trying, we have things we're working on, Director Roberts,
Yeah,
but not all of them are placed, they're ready for the agenda.
okay.
yeah,
We're aware of, I mean, we're aware of a lot of these issues, and we're concerned too.
Yeah, it's not just the mud side. I'm noticing the HOA side is really bad too.
Yeah.
So,
which is only positive in the sense that it means it's broader, it's not something specific that, yeah, but I agree with you,
and vehicles that are being parked in the driveway for more than 24 hours, I'm noticing that.
that has
they're
cropped,
moving.
I haven't like counted it, but yeah, it does seem to be cropping.
I'm
up
sorry,
more.
but vehicles parked in the driveway is.
No, the,
Well, no,
The
in the
street-
driveway, they're not allowed for 24 hours.
in your driveway?
Yeah.
You
that's
can
what my
park your car in
section
your
is.
driveway?
No, but it can't sit there for more than 24 hours without being
Yeah, I
moved.
can.
No, my
Well,
restrictions don't allow
Well,
so regardless
it. I'm
though,
just saying that some of them are there for years.
yeah,
Yeah, years, I
Well,
could see, but 24
well,
hours.
in the street for sure, but,
we're getting street issues and maintenance issues that are cropping up. And
yeah, it's,
Okay.
with a couple of exceptions, we're being more flooded with little stuff, right? And so we are working with, Cam and Armbrust and Brown, but the procedure is quite specific.
Okay.
So, we're trying to work on some things for the more educational side, in case some of these issues are just not knowing. I mean, some people are gonna leave their trash can out for 4 days, and they're just gonna do it, and it's not an education thing.
Yeah.
But for those where they might not know, we are trying to work on those issues, so.
No, I'm not faulting you.
No,
I'm
no, I
just-
know.
I'm just thinking that there, I just noticed it's getting like.
Well, and I think Jack
Yeah.
is still a little bit shorthanded. He's not here to report tonight, but our
Gotcha.
reflection is that Jack still does not have a person who, like, he's driving the neighborhood, I think, still, right, David? I think that was his last report. So, in the past, Jack had a person who did that work, and then Jack was overseeing, so, obviously, it's hard for everybody to hire right now. But, so there are some other, like to John's, there's some very logistical things that we are aware and working on. We just don't even to the point of bringing to the board.
One thing I was gonna say is, probably because Cecilia knows the same thing as with the yards, but we finally got rain. So we are kind of seeing growth, but we haven't seen it in a while, so hopefully maybe people will,
That's what I'm thinking. too.
yeah, fingers crossed, so, okay, thank you guys. Next, finance and audit, so I'm kind of excited to say Taylor is zoomed in, so she no longer has to come to the meetings, as we discussed at a previous meeting. Unless like maybe we're doing budgets or such, then she, will be here in person, or if there's something specific, are you up there? Hey.
I am, hello.
So, unless there's a reason we need to have her here in person, then we can ask her to come. But I think this is more efficient, this is saving money for the district. So Taylor, you wanna go ahead and give us your report?
Sure, absolutely. Can y'all hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. All right, if y'all wanna flip to page 4 of your financial report, I'll have your checks for approval today. Begin with check 21951 and then continues on to that supplemental cash flow through 21976. You just had one supplemental for your credit card statement. Other than that, really nothing out of the ordinary as far as checks go. We've got your normal consultant fees and maintenance items there. You've got your customer deposit refunds, again, coming out of your manager's account. If you flip to page 8, this will be the start of your actual versus budget comparison for the month of September. We are missing some information here, so this isn't complete information for the fiscal year. So what I'll end up doing next month is also presenting September again, so you can see the end of the fiscal year. Other than that, as far as investments go, there's nothing for your approval today for investments, but we did have 3 transfers. And then the only other item that I wanted to bring up that we talked about in bills and invoices was really a directive for us to talk about next meeting and add an agenda item about that special projects text pool account that's open. As Lisa mentioned, we want to start kind of talking about how we want to utilize those funds. So just an agenda item so that we can kind of start those discussions would be good.
Lisa, remind us, was it 370?
Yeah, what was the, budget number?
The amount?
It's 377,000 is the current balance.
Okay, great. Okay, so we will have that on the agenda in November. We also, Lisa, talked to Sean a little bit. We're gonna, we already have an existing policy, but we will have it on the agenda to talk about how we're gonna sign checks going forward. And we are considering having Mac sign them as, along with the GM. We talked about this in bills and invoices, and it's actually pretty important that the GM does have some oversight on that, because she's gonna be the one that knows, hey, no, this project isn't done yet, or this one's not ready to sign and release. So Sean's tasked with working with Taylor and Lisa on that, so we'll bring that back up in November. Okay, do I have a motion to approve payment of bills and invoices and the 3 transfers?
A motion?
Second. Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
You mean Taylor?
I'm sorry, Taylor.
Oh, that's okay.
And thank you, Lisa, too. Do you mind staying on for a bit? Do you guys think that's best in case we have any questions for her, or do we want her to go ahead and drop off?
I thought we were saving money, might as well get her to drop off.
I mean, is there
We're
anything
saving money
else?
with her traveling.
I was gonna say, is there anything else we need her input on? I don't wanna keep her here if she doesn't need to be.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, then have a good evening. Taylor?
Thanks, y'all. Have a good one. Take care.
Just real quick.
Oh,
Taylor,
Taylor, hold on.
there's one question.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I corrected my check request, for the per diem. I struck out a meeting that I posted that I thought we were gonna have, and it was canceled the same day I sent it in.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. We will update that.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. All right, have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
15 amenities, sorry? Shoemaker?
That's on Taylor, thank you.
Oh, okay. Directors, Premier Recreation Management, Mark, welcome.
All right, thank you for having me here. And the summer went really well. We finished up here at Tomlinson the last weekend of September. Got all the chairs kind of stacked under the awning there. If you want them somewhere else, please let us know. We can get them moved for you, but do have those stacked there.
I do have one quick question.
Sure.
With the weather, like when it gets extreme, I mean, are they that durable? Should we cover them to protect them a little better?
They should be all right, under that awning at least. Maybe if it starts, we have the freezing rain and stuff,
Yeah.
that would be the time to possibly cover them. But I don't think you necessarily need to, because that may also trap in the moisture on the aluminum and stuff. With Apache, we started off the first weekend we were supposed to be open, happened to be the weekend that the construction was taking place. So we weren't able to open up until the following weekend. When we did open, there was a lot of dust and debris around the pool. We were able to come in, get the pool completely vacuumed out and ready to go before the swim meet. I think the construction ended on Wednesday, the swim meet was Friday. So we got that taken care of, got 3 sides of the deck power washed for you to get the dust out of there and try to keep it out. Most of the time, the chemicals are great. We did have an issue this past weekend where there was an air bubble that formed in the feeder system. So it was not reading any chlorine in the pool, or reading very low chlorine, because it was reading the air, and it overfed. So I had to call Lisa or text Lisa on Saturday morning and let her know that we were about 50 parts per million on the chlorine, so we did have to shut down Saturday. But we were able to work with Progressive, and they brought out some chlorine neutralizer. We got it all situated and we're reopened on Sunday. So we're.
How common is a air bubble that causes that type of trouble? And is that something that we could invest $5 and then it's not gonna happen again, or is that?
It's something that happens every now and then. I don't know, I haven't been working on the system here, so I'm not sure how the intrusion happened.
Okay,
It could be low water, it could have been a leak somewhere, those hoses sometimes get small cracks in them, or the vibration will loosen up something. So it's not that common for it to happen, but it does happen from time to time.
okay.
Okay.
And then, as Lisa mentioned, the tarps. The tarps are showing a lot of signs of wear and tear.
I'm sorry, Mark.
That's all right. Yeah, the tarps are showing a lot of signs of wear and tear, mainly along the edges where it's pulling, that's all been corroded and kind of ripped. A couple of the eyelets have ripped out, so it's difficult to take them up and pull them out. I think we can live through the season, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention, for going forward, that you may wanna consider that for the budget for next year.
Actually, that was a question. Did we find out from Taylor when was the last time we purchased them?
No, we did not,
Just
but
a
we
second,
will.
please.
We will find that out. We
Okay,
have not put it
So we
in.
did ask Taylor to find out when was the last time we purchased them, so, because we will put it into our asset database so that we can then track and
Yeah,
budget
I
for
think
this.
it's
It's,
been quite a while.
see, I thought it wasn't too long ago, but you may be right, but we'll get that information. So, but you did say that we could go one more year.
Yeah, I think we can make it this winter.
And what's the typical life on those?
Probably 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
A couple things that would help with that, one thing we've already implemented is we're now putting the tarps on from the opposite side of the pool, so they're not being pulled over the dive blocks. That will help, but also when we go to store them, to make sure that we put them at an angle and drain all the water out of them.
Good.
Because as we pulled them out this year, it was still full of water from
Wow.
last year. Which is typical, a lot of times it's on a flat surface and the water just sits in there, and of course, it's not a fun smell when you, when you pull that out.
Yeah.
But so having it not necessarily stored on the other end for the summer season, but utilizing that side during the winter, I think will make a big difference.
Yeah.
On the
One thing that we, I know Director Roberts and I brought up a couple times is let's just make sure that that's not leaning against that wrought iron fence. It's a pretty heavy thing and we don't want to have wear and tear on.
Well, it's also a stepping stone for somebody to come in,
Yeah, it could be, although it'd be very difficult because as you put any pressure on it, it spins.
That'd be fun to watch.
Exactly.
Okay, all right, anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, you're welcome to leave if you'd like,
Thank you.
and have a
Thanks,
good
Mark.
evening.
Thank you.
Thanks. We are moving along, guys. Trip. We have a proposal for Christmas light decoration install and take down, proposal 3122. And the amount is,
$9,033.75.
So there are two options, there is an option to add stuff, I didn't know this year if you guys were wanting to add any additional decorations or not, so I
I
just
don't
put it in
think
there.
we should stick to what we had.
I'm wondering, the totals don't seem to add up. And I just might not understand how it's constructed.
Yeah,
Could you walk us through the thing for your
Yeah.
proposal real quick between the 9,375 and the 15,375? That'd be helpful.
So the 9,375 is just for take down, or put up, take down, and then storing it, which is actually, I say that because that actually takes us some time to do that. The additional, this, let me get down to this. So I did an allowance for 8,000, and I see there is a difference there.
That's good. I just want to make sure it wasn't my
No, you're right.
understanding of the proposal.
My mistake on that.
No.
But it was basically just saying, if there's gonna be any additional decorations that need to be added, there would be an allowance for that.
If I may, I'd like to speak on that. The decorations that Trip is putting out are old. And if we need to replace any, it's either going to be that some won't be able to be put out at all, or he might need to replace some. So I think it would benefit us if we did include the allowance. He may not spend the total of the $8,000, but that might be in order for him to be able to replace some of those wreaths that were pretty dilapidated in this past year.
So wreaths and bows,
Yeah,
few lights sometimes strands that get wrapped around trees tend to go out sooner. I
Yes.
don't know if they just get stretched or,
Where are you getting your bows from? Because they seem to be really small. From a commercial grade?
I've gotten them off of Amazon, but they say they're commercial, but I would agree, these were not really.
They didn't look very good.
We get them a lot of times from Union Irrigation here too, so.
Yeah, I think if we buy some quality, and I've got some original wreath in Garland that I've had for like 30 years and it's still fine, so you just have to fluff it a lot.
Right.
And it's a matter of storing, what you had to deal with last year, those weren't properly stored in the previous year, and so that does make a difference. We are obviously working on that now, but that's just something we've had to deal with other employment beforehand, so.
Okay, so do I have a proposal for 3122 in the amount of 15,375? Not to exceed.
But that's not the right math though, right?
Right.
That's not bad.
It should be 17,
Yeah.
Not to exceed 17,000.
sorry,
Well,
17,375.
Well, I guess the question is, would it be correct to say it's 15,375 trip, or would it be correct, or is the 8,000, like, which part is, we wanna make sure we get the right, and I guess the other thing.
I anticipated 8,000, so the number at the bottom should be higher.
Okay.
So it would be 17,375.
Okay, so
So now I make a motion that we approve for the 9,375 with an option, if necessary, not to exceed 8,000 for a replacement of wreath and bows.
So that's gonna be that 17,375.
Yeah.
Okay, so the motion is not to exceed 17,775. Do I have a second?
Or to approve, yeah.
I'll second.
Any more discussion?
Just, I guess, to be clear, the proposal talks about additional deck, I mean, I don't know if it should add anything new, but I'm fine with replacing things that are worn, so just make sure that we're clear on that in our motion. Is everyone, we good on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I kind of broke that out.
Just want to get confirmation, that's my understanding.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, moving on, the proposal 3123, would you like to share that with us?
3123, this was actually proposed 3 months ago, I think, it was in the middle of the drought and heat. So I'm just bringing this back to the table. I did provide this last month as well, just having materials in it only, just in case you wanted to put that in last year's fiscal year or budget. So you're seeing the same things before, just to replace the plant material here behind the porch.
And do you think now is the right time, given it's gonna be 40 degrees on
I think I would.
Halloween?
I think I'd wait till spring.
I plant. I'll take responsibility for it if a freeze happens.
We should go
I
by
mean-
his recommendation.
Now's a great time to plant.
Oh, really? Okay,
I mean,
and so if it fails,
Unless it has like a major freeze or something like that, I mean, we're gonna have other issues no matter what, I can't control that.
yeah,
But I mean, I'm not at all afraid, just not plant, or
Is there
plant.
another option besides ligustrums? They're just so plain.
Sure, I mean,
I mean, they're just like the,
I was just doing it for the color. There gives, you don't look good.
Is it- the purple sage, the life expectancy of them is not that great, is it? Unless it's in the right soil.
It's not bad.
okay, so, do I have a motion to approve 3123 in the amount of $3,162.89, and, we could even have Trip work with the GM on some options if we need to change the different type of flora.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, as you put in there with we can work with the GM on, what exactly gets planted on that not to exceed 3162.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, thank you, Trip. Proposal 3124 for tree installations.
So this is, these were also, the plant material was proposed last month as well. Just bringing it back to the table, basically. I've got an option of different type of trees here that I suggest, and certified arbor suggests as well. We do, based on, have to have kind of a minimum because I have some fixed costs that are involved in it, so I just asked that there be 10 or more approved. I think,
Is this per tree? 1590?
yes, this is per tree with irrigation tree stakes, because I mean, all of them gotta have boulders tied to them unless we're replacing something.
And,
So,
And you're saying, where are these gonna be replaced?
I have not done a map or anything yet, as far as location. But I mean, open areas where we've lost big trees, I mean, it's just replenishing what, a lot of what we've lost. I'm trying to get on track now. I mean,
Right.
Okay, so if it's, you wanna do a minimum of 10 trees, it's gonna be about $16,000. Do I have a motion to approve proposal 3124 for 16,000?
Motion.
Go a second.
No, not 16,000, 1,600, right?
No,
No,
60,000.
it's because he wants to do a minimum of
1500.
10, and that's per tree, is that 1,500?
Okay,
I'll second for, oh wait, are you making your motion still?
go ahead.
No, did you
I
motion?
did motion.
Okay, then I'll second for discussion, because I think I might want to propose an amended motion.
Sure, okay, Director Shoemaker.
I would say, I would want to put a motion out for doing the 10 at 1590, but I was gonna say, Tripp, if you could put a list of locations where you plan to put these first 10 trees, to run it by the board for us to kind of talk about where we think our priorities are, before you start doing that. To kind of, and then also give some residents a chance to have buy-in. I mean, obviously, not everybody's watching tonight, but we can try to get the word up. Residents want to let us know where they really think we need to put trees going forward. They can come to the meeting or send an email. I'd like to get some input.
And you can put up the map up here, and you can, easily show us where you're suggesting it.
Okay.
And does that still give you enough time, because it'll be on the November 14th, I think, meeting?
Yeah, does that work for your?
that's okay.
That is,
I mean,
okay,
Unless it's some crazy event, I'm not worried about the.
okay,
The sooner the better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And not just my opinion, but it's recommended because your tree roots grow through the winter.
Mhm.
So,
okay.
Yeah, this is the time I know people want to put down new trees, so we definitely, we're just gonna work on the where, right?
yeah, no problem.
So it's saying it's a 45-gallon container tree.
Yeah.
When I've purchased trees before, it's always been by how many years? A 2-year, 3-year-old tree. How old are these trees? How big are they gonna be? What's the?
So, I don't know exactly how old they are, but I can tell you this, they're gonna be close to a 3-inch caliper. So they're decent sized trees. I mean, we have trees out here, the smaller ones, along Blockhouse Drive out here, were put in last year, same size. So kind of give you an idea.
Okay, I'm looking for a way to save money in the future. You are going to be getting 45-gallon containers. Can we have those put in the garden area so I can start growing my own oak trees and we
The
can?
empty containers.
Hey, I got a whole pile of empty containers. Come on.
Okay, yeah, I think I'd really like to get that going. I've got a bunch of acorns, I'm looking for some pecans, and I've got a bunch of, mimosa that I'm gonna start watering on a regular basis, and so we're gonna be looking for discounts next time we're needing 10 more trees.
Okay, any more discussion?
Yeah, I do have a comment. Have you checked with Texas Disposal System, because they have trees?
So to my knowledge, they're all small trees.
No, they're giants.
I can check with them.
Okay, I just think it would be worth just kind of exploring some other options, maybe we're a client of theirs, already a customer, maybe it's just worth looking at.
The other option is that we're gonna go ahead and approve this, but he could work with the subcommittee on the location, and then we could print out the map and PDF it and send it to the full board, instead of waiting until November, if you guys are comfortable with that. And then you could give the GM feedback.
Which subcommittee would that be again?
It's, services, amenities,
Amenities,
it's amenities.
Another question, it seems that sycamores really like growing next to creeks because they're pretty thirsty. If we're gonna be putting these trees around the area, I don't wanna have a sycamore problem where we're having to barrel these on a regular basis. I'd rather go with something that's more drought tolerant.
Okay.
If that's the case, that they are a thirstier tree, can we avoid those for around the loop?
And that would
If
be
you have
part
any
of,
trees you guys want, I mean, we can look at that as well. These were just recommendations, Monterey Oak, Cedar Elm, these are, I mean, hardy trees.
I don't wanna belabor me, but I mean, honestly, I think like a lot of people, when the pecans were cut, there were, like, I feel like a lot of people kind of comments, I heard people in the neighborhood, like, it's real sad, it's like, I mean, we don't wanna plant pecans everywhere, obviously, but, that's what I was kind of up to where the trees are going, right, what's going in where, cause like, I think putting in new trees in some of those locations, we lost really key heritage trees, right? Would I think kind of resonate well, like, oh, they're putting a new pecan in to replace, so, and that's why I was wondering what the look is like. I know we had some bigger, more key trees have to be cut down over the last couple of years, so that's why. But I mean, honestly, the subcommittee, I mean, it's not so I personally want to, demand to approve it, more just try to work on where these are going. Not saying I don't trust your judgment, but given that we probably hear more from the residents about which trees they miss more than y'all do, hopefully he's doing grabbing and bothering you right while you're working. That's kind of my big thing, is making sure the residents go, oh, we really want a tree here first than somewhere else.
Okay, so the motion was to approve the amount, you seconded it.
And I made a proposed motion to approve the amount, or amend the motion to approve the amount, but also have them give us a list for that 10 trees of the board. I'm fine with withdrawing my motion to make a new motion to propose that we do the 10 trees at $1,590 per tree, and that Tripp provides his list of where those trees will go to the correct subcommittee, who can then, and the GM, to then share that with the board.
Okay, all right, so that will maybe give him a little bit jump on it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and then we have the review for Priority Landscapes. I don't know if anybody is prepared to do that review. Lisa and I talked about it just at the beginning of the meeting. Are you guys okay if you take a look? We did redline his contract.
I saw that.
And we actually made some pretty good changes. Thank you, Tripp, for all your input on that and brainstorming. So are you guys okay if we review him in November?
Yes.
Okay, Tripp, are you okay with that?
Perfect.
Okay, great. We will have you on the agenda.
So let me ask this, so we invoiced the beginning of the month, do you want me to invoice the same as we are now, or is
We can retro you that.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll make it, we'll,
we'll figure it out.
The new agreement starts on the 1st.
November 1st. Yeah, the review doesn't
Oh, okay.
impact it.
Okay.
We'll approve the, under legal, we'll hopefully approve your contract, but we'll still just review you in November.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Is that good? Okay, thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Tripp. Have a good
Thank you.
evening. Be safe. I think we're gonna get some weather, so please be careful driving home. Okay, anything report from amenities subcommittee? Do we have anything?
We don't have anything to report, and the memo is inside the packet.
Oh, you need to stay, I guess, sorry.
Yeah.
Tripp, I'm sorry, we still have your contract coming up.
You know what, we can go jump to that real quick.
Yeah.
How's that? Okay, number 24, landscape maintenance agreement.
That's in the supplemental packet.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll do the motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, any discussion?
Yes. There's a lot of increases in here. And it went substantially quite a lot. We went from tree services from 31 to 64,000. Is that because of the winter that we had?
So the expansion as well, we're gonna be including Jamano Park, the disc golf course as well, to catch up. I mean, there's not enough in the contract right now to be able to do everything that needs to be done.
So what level are we looking at of maintaining that disc golf course? Is it like
It's
a
just
1 to
tree-
10?
More of a tree, just tree care, just making sure that it's not necessarily, I mean, it's keeping an eye on the trees and trimming them, keeping them pruned section by section.
Okay. And then the base fee went from $26,000 to $39,000. So explain to me what that justification is.
So that I provide, so there's Luco Chansfield maintenance.
Now, that was my other comment. I'm gonna go there. I'm sorry if it's okay. I'm just gonna kind of jump in.
Well, can we let him answer your first question?
Well, I'm gonna go back to, because I think that's what you're saying, adding Luther Chance had a lot to do with it.
It had something to do with it, yes.
Okay, and then the trail fire break clearing.
That had a lot to do with it.
So that's where the increase came in, correct? Okay, so the disc golf was already in here.
So not to the level of, the disc golf course, there is some maintenance for the disc golf course, but it's not for the trees. Not for the pruning of the trees.
Okay, okay. So is it maintaining Chanceville twice a week from November to February?
I mean,
That's
keep it-
a lot.
So, I mean, you want to keep
It's
it
just a
maintained.
practice field. It's not a it's not a little league
We
field.
spent more than $10,000 on it just to get it to the point that it's at right
Yeah, I
now.
know, but I think.
You wanna
we-
start wanting to maintain it, or else, again.
It'll
we're
cost
gonna-
us more in the long run if we maintain
But
it
it's
properly.
Costing us a lot now if we keep it at twice a week, that's a lot. Is it any way that you think that you could do it once a week?
No,
I mean, I'd prefer not to,
No.
but.
you have too many people that are, unless we start charging for the field to be used, you have too many people that are renting it out. That
We
thing
might
is.
have to
And this
start
is
looking at
in our-
charging them.
We did,
Don't finish,
Yeah.
you're reading it,
This
I'm
is-
gonna.
I mean, we have a practice field that has been just fine for 40 years, and now we've turned it into a Little League field, which is fine, but I'm like, the cost is now starting to, if you gotta remember, not everybody in Blockhouse is using it, and we're doing this for just a very small few people, and the majority of the people using it don't even live here, it's just the coaches live here, and a few of their kids. And I'm concerned that we're compensating it for a very few people. And I think it's very expensive, to be doing that. It's not a fault on yours at all.
No, that's fine.
And I think the field looks really nice now that it got compacted. It helped it a lot. And I just am concerned, and it says the contractor will undertake 700 hours of trail and firebright clearing. What is that, an hour? How much is that an hour? Is that in here?
It's, I don't have it right here. That's the 80, I believe it's the 89. I think I moved it up. If not, it's at 80.
So it's $80 and it could be up to 700 hours? So
So that's how much is in the contract and would be billed out monthly.
Okay,
So that's where we go to. And when we get to that point, it would stop.
so when you go over 700 hours, then you go to
Yes,
$89 an
That
hour?
part of the contract's been fulfilled.
Okay.
So I just felt like that was a really big need for the district, so I basically put in what, the smaller things, Luther Chansfield, and I had some extra mulch in there. And then there was the actual other pruning, and everything between that total and the 475 I built in is the tree work, because it's necessary.
so I wanna add that, the fire breaks is a safety concern. We have not worked on that.
No, I agree with that.
And it's absolutely needed. I've had a lot of residents reach out. I know you went back to behind Scamonte and did a great job there. If you walk not just right here at Thomason, but if you walk the whole Greenbelt, there's just so much that needs to be cleaned out. You could have probably tripled those hours and not even make a big dent, but we need to start doing this now. So I'm sorry, Director Shoemaker, you had a
Well,
question?
just, yeah, cause I mean, I'm doing the math as we're talking, so you said it's $89 an hour for the brush cutting, so, and that in and of itself, by itself is over 60,000, I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's more like, I think to give residents an idea of the scope, right, you're increasing your fee, but just doing the brush alone, if you fulfill it, it's like an extra $60,000 that we have to pay, right?
Not only that, once he does go in and do the trail fire breaking clearing, then he's gonna have to start maintaining it, because you've exposed the area to sunlight, to rain, and to everything else, and it's gonna start to grow. And so we don't want that to regrow and him have to go back and redundantly do it in a bulk cleanup. This will now offer him to maintain, and next year's contract, we'll see more mowing, because he's gonna start clearing a lot more area that has never been touched before.
And my recollection, I wish Taylor was here, I guess this is one we could have had her say, but it's really not the critical, but I'll just say it, my recollection was, when we did the budget this year, that this amount was, like, we've already got this accounted for in the
I can
budget.
confirm that, I talked to
Yes.
Taylor before the.
Okay, and so I guess my point is, Director Roberts and everybody here listening, is that, I mean, no, I get this is expensive, I struggle with, like, we were paying a lot, I'm not saying you're doing wrong, but just, it's expensive to do this stuff, right? But at the same time, like, we had, I guess, I mean, our place to change what's being done would have been in the budget process. I mean, I think is the issue I see here is that if we've already budgeted for it, we told you that we wanted you to budget for it, I guess, I don't see how we can't include it in the contract. I guess that's where I'm a little dissonance, like, if we put it in the budget and the contract is executing, we put in the budget, unless we're gonna change the budget, why would we take it out of the contract? I mean, I guess the point to have the discussion of whether you should do it or not was during the budget process.
Right, and I wanna bring up one point,
Am I
that you're
right?
not just a mower, you're not just mowing the green grass in our district. There's a lot more important maintenance that needs to be done, that hasn't been done. And when we do it right, if we do it and do it right, we're gonna save money in the long run, and our amenities are gonna be even better. They're gonna be safer, cleaner, fire, all that kind of stuff. Director Robert, and then, Director Young, and then Director Johnson.
I've spent quite a bit of time back in Humano area. There's a lot of dead wood back there. There's a lot of dead trees. With the recent brush fire, we really need to be getting all this dead wood out. And part of that is being able to navigate in between trees and such, but there's those cedars, they grow big branches out and then they die because they're getting the sun higher up. We need to knock out a lot of those dead branches. We've got a lot of dead trees back there. So for fire protection issues, I think this is one of those things that if we get this handled properly, we're not gonna get patted on the back and, hey, you saved us from a fire. But if we do get a fire back there before that's cleaned up, we're gonna get in a lot of trouble with residents for that stuff for so long. Another point that I wanna make is the Luther Chance Field. Although it can be the perception that it was fine for the years and years that it's been up, the home plate was notoriously a few inches off the dirt up. Home plate is to be slid into. You know, by the time kids are even if they're not sliding into it quite, you know, P. Rose style, it's a big concrete barrier that they're hitting, and it's not safe. So my thoughts on this are we either need to kill the project or we need to do the project right. There's been a lot of, you know, divots out in the outfield with a more comprehensive plan to fix it through TRIP, which the course is looking great, although third base is not properly aligned, but we'll get that figured out. But I suggest that we go with this maintenance, but if we come up to like, hey, we're spending too much on Luther Chance, then let's cut it from the budget and turn that into a field or whatever, right?
Okay. Director Johnson.
Yeah, so I think we've pretty much a consensus about the 5 rate, but twice and 3 times does seem like a lot, but I guess I would just ask Tripp and Lisa, if you notice that the use of the field is getting less during at least for what is Texas cold months, right, December, January, and February, if we can dial that back, you know what I mean, if it trails off now that it's,
that's gonna be dependent upon all of our reservations. We actually have one of the biggest reservation lists in regards to that field, more than anything else, and we are asking residents to utilize the other fields at Tonkawa.
Sure.
And they are, but it is definitely during that time frame. We will keep an eye on it for sure.
Can we get the log of the you know, I'd be interested in which leagues are using it and how much, how many different teams are getting access to it, how many of those have coaches here. Basically, I love data. If we can get some data, that would help us make decisions moving forward for the rest of the district.
I'll have a suggestion to build on that. For a future board meeting, maybe November, maybe December, maybe get a presentation from you and from Tripp about what the work you do in the field is, and talking about like how many people use it, both for us, but I think it'd be good for the residents and people watch this later to like hear, right? So maybe that's a way to have that discussion too. And also if folks want to come to the hearing, we can tell them like, hey, you use the field, we're gonna have a presentation on it, so folks want to come and give public comment about their usage of the field and get the word out.
Yeah, and I want to remind the board that we did go ahead and purchase that equipment
Yes.
to maintain the field.
Mhm.
So, and you are the expert, you do know what is going to work and what isn't going to work. And we have had residents call in, email, complain about it not being up to par, so.
And just a comment, because I've got a little history with it as well, but the thing is that sometimes these coaches, which when they go to the Lily, because I'm there every weekend at Cedar Park, and because my daughter's son plays there, those coaches know how to maintain those fields. We need to maybe hold some accountability with maintaining the field on these coaches that reserve them. Because this is a commodity for them. I mean, it's a big plus for them. In fact, it's exactly why your reservation list is so full, because everybody wants to use that field. And it's nice and it's wonderful that it's getting utilized. I think it's excellent that kids are taking advantage of it. But I am concerned that we've got just a very small little fraction and we're spending all this money to maintain this field. And, you know, my concern is also, just for somebody that wants to go hit balls, the field's got so many people on it. I mean, this one coach, he's there every weekend in with his team almost. And it's like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be there, you know, with a team, but then you can't go out and say, oh, are you here with your team, or are you just here with 3 or 4 of your players? But they're using it where somebody wants to just go pitch with the, like, maybe David wants to take his kids, well, he can't go use it because it's being utilized.
Okay, so,
my question
hold
also,
on a
hang
second,
on,
no, I'm actually gonna help you. I hear what you're saying, and I want us to, that's another discussion that we need to have, and that's on reservations, so I wanna move that to November on
Thank you.
reservations or December,
Okay.
but I want us to focus on the contract and what we have.
So my neighbor question is, what is the actual total? Because I'm trying to total it up, it's all pieced in here, and so far I've got 503,000 a year plus, $65,000. What would be your bill to us monthly?
It's somewhere around 39.
Okay, so
That's,
So,
the monthly
maybe
bill
just-
is
I don't remember the
what's
exact number.
in
I
section
got
3A.
39,583. Then
Yeah.
there's a $1,942 in the irrigation repair that's described, because that's
within the
inclusive.
base.
Yeah, so then, is that included in the 39?
Yeah, so
Yes.
Sean is saying the 39 is the
Okay, it does
monthly.
say inclusive,
that's
so I
our
missed
cost.
that.
None of these services would be billed additional for, it's all within the contract. Everything that's in the contract, the trees.
So it's really $480,000 a year
It's a
contract.
$475,000 contract.
That wasn't what I got. I got 480.
Well,
I
I
got
just, I
39.
maximized the budget, that's what I did, and that's what I was saying on that, I used the trail and fire cleanup to do that, so.
Okay, so
Sure.
my math is
I
bad.
know I've asked you this before, but I'm gonna reiterate. I'm looking for numbers, at the end of this year, so when we start getting ready to budget for the following year, I wanna know how much we've spent on Luther Chance, and then how much we're looking at spending on an annual basis, right? It's gonna cost more to ramp it up, but just to maintain it should be another price, so we'll be expecting that near the end of the year when we've got a budgeting season, so that we can either axe it or celebrate it.
Okay, so let's go back to this contract that's in front of us. Sean, do you have something?
Yeah, we do have one thing, and Tripp, I'm gonna queue it up and pass it to you. Tripp has asked for us to consider the removal, I should say, for y'all to consider the removal, under compensation, Article 3, Section C. We have a provision in here that, for as long as I've been with you guys, there is a stage 4 water restriction use provision, which provides that if we go into stage 4, less watering and thus less landscaping. Tripp, I'll let you, would you like to explain some of the rationale for what you'd like to see?
The reason I brought that up is, I mean, first of all, it hasn't happened yet, and I've been here many years to maintain as well. Not to say it's not any worse, I don't know if it is or not, but it kind of seems like it sometimes. But I will say that I go through the H-2B visa process with our workers, so that they're all documented and everything. So when I do that, I'm required to pay them a certain amount, which is basically 3/4 of what we offer them over 12-week period, I believe, so every 12 weeks it starts over. So if I don't have, basically, my point is, I pretty much have to pay the guys whether the work is here or not, and I'm happy to, you know, we're here for 2 days and let's do more fireblade cleaning. I'm willing to work in terms of that, but I just feel like this could, I mean, either I don't pay my guys, or I get in trouble, or, you know, that's what it's about, and so, you know.
You're talking about the drought contingency,
Yes.
that this is a provision you want out of here?
Yes.
Sean, what's your recommendation?
I understand where Tripp is coming from. He's got, because of how he has procured his staff, I think he, you know, by all accounts, he's on the hook. So if we take this out and the work is reduced, it's a significant amount of risk that Tripp's got to take just to perform under the contract. So I will point out, I've been in this business for a while. Stage 4, I mean, granted, as Tripp sort of alluded to, certain governments have been on stage 3 for a while this year. Stage 3 longer than I've ever seen before, but I have never seen stage 4 in my career, so for what it's worth.
But we're only in stage 3,
Correct.
so we've never been to stage 4.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's, the risk is, I don't think the taxpayers should have to absorb those costs. But I hear what you're saying, you could always use the workers in other areas, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
But then how is that gonna be documented?
I mean, I can get with GM and say, we need this much time to maintain and this much time we get to do something else.
Actually, if we're in stage 4,
We're like, seriously.
well, I was gonna say, we probably need Trip to spend about a couple thousand hours cutting fire breaks.
Yeah.
So if anything, we should probably have a provision here saying that we're reducing other work, and then any unused hours should go to doing fire break and trimming to reduce fuel load if we're in a stage 4.
Yeah.
That's
Sensitive that-
essentially what I'm thinking is that's exactly where we'd be going.
Could we add that instead of removing, could we add that as a provision to say, alternatively, if there's other work to, excuse me, if there's other work that can be performed, that we could repurpose them to that? Because I'm just, like Director Roberts said, if there is no other work, I'm certainly sensitive to that as a business owner myself, but asking the taxpayers to foot that is a tough
There will
ask.
always be other work, so yeah, let's amend that
Then
language.
it's not a problem ever.
Yeah, for Director.
So if we could
Director
just,
Johnson.
I don't know, whatever you think, Sean, add that to the end,
Yeah.
alternative.
Yeah, I think that what I would propose, I'll draft something pretty simple and just says that if we do hit stage 4, that as opposed to doing typical maintenance, Trip will get something else approved by the board.
Approved, yeah, it needs to be approved.
Okay,
Is that
so we're not gonna approve this tonight then, is that correct? We're gonna, okay, so, we have a motion,
Somebody motioned.
somebody motion, so
I'll motion. I was like, I couldn't remember who did.
I did make a motion, but
Yeah,
it's for
Cecilia and
discussion.
Johnson.
I do have one more comment. Tell me exactly, is it the 39,583, and why did that cost go up? Because of the additional for disc golf and Luther Chance and the fire break?
So the base contract that we're doing right now went up just about 5%. There were, the areas that we needed to we mulched over tree roots a few months ago. That area is now mulched, it's not grass, so I added in $4,136 for that. Then we had the additional tree trimming, that's an additional $33,600. And then, the Luther Chance Field, that's $19,386 for the year, which all this is for the year. And then the fire break clearing was $68,228.
Now, my other comment is this, is there any way we could have competitively bid some of the fire break work?
I don't know if
I
we
mean-
wanna split that out,
And
and I think it's a little late right now, we can look at that next year if we want to.
Well, I'm just saying that we don't really know what we're comparing apples to oranges with right now.
What we do know is, other landscaping companies, in other districts are 5 times or more the cost of Trip. We are definitely not paying a Cadillac service. Please don't take that as,
No, I get what you're saying.
because again, you are more than a mower, and we need to pay you for what you're doing, and we are increasing our ask from you. And so I do believe that this is in line, and if we did go out, and we can go out and do bids, we're gonna be shocked at the prices out there.
Which probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have some
Well,
comparison.
before we bid, or even, before we do anything like bidding something without knowing, I think we would definitely need to know what, minimum within Crossroads, what other districts are paying for similar work.
And Lisa can tell you that, we have talked about it. at the
Yeah, no,
landscape
I'm just saying, we have to discuss it
Yeah.
publicly, we're even trying to bid, because it seems a fool's errand to bid if everybody else is paying more than us or the same, like.
$1 million for mowing and irrigation.
Well, that'd be great to see.
Okay, I just.
Okay, so-
I can offer anecdotally, I have a district that it wasn't too far from the Cedar Park wildfire not too long ago, and they just spent $45,000-$50,000 to do a very small green belt.
Yeah, no, I'm understanding all that, I just was like, are we really, I'm not saying anything against you, we've got a good relationship with you, but, we've got to take care of the taxpayers' money that we're spending, so.
And I'm just gonna reiterate that the amenities subcommittee has talked to the GM and looked at other prices, so, we're not just
Who did y'all look
blindly.
at?
Lisa gave us several, examples of different contracts and different, months. So,
Maybe give
are
us
we ready to
some
vote?
else.
All in favor?
Well, real quick before we
Oh,
vote,
sure.
because Sean's got to make the amendment, do we need to make a new motion to make?
Oh, we can't vote. We can't vote. Oh, no, you said we do have
Yeah,
to
we
vote.
have to vote.
You have to vote, but I just need to make sure we're voting on the right way for Sean's
Yeah,
purposes.
so we have a motion to say, you can just, I think, affirm the motion, so.
Why don't I just amend my motion
Please.
to adjust paragraph, Article 3C in the compensation per the directive that we just gave Sean.
Yeah, the
Okay.
suggestion by Johnson.
And so the general tenor of that will be stage 4, basic services reduced and board will provide direction in the same amount of labor.
Or GM.
So we need a second on my amended or not?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
You aye opposed or you're aye
Aye.
aye? We just had that confusion one time. She's an aye
Yeah.
aye.
I did that once before, so.
That's okay. That's right. Okay, thank you. And then we look forward to your review in November. And please, be prepared to also give us feedback. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Trey.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, the storm's gonna hit here shortly, so I'd like to see residents get home safely as well as
Yeah, I think it's been
consultant.
started right now.
Yeah.
Ben, you're up.
Good evening.
Hi, Glenn.
It's been a pretty quiet month, which is good from an operations standpoint. Our water loss is up 1% to 8.40, which is really good. Not concerned about that at all, and we've had no issues with James Shealy's fixes from a few months back, so that's good. So we're holding steady, and I'll keep you guys updated if I see any spikes. We're aware of the issues with the paving that's going on, and that patchwork that's being done at 1108 Port Daniel. That will be finished up by our guys, smoothing out and filling in with asphalt to grade, so there's no more bottoming out or scraping over there from vehicles. That should be done by the end of the week, although it is supposed to rain all day tomorrow, which might slow our guys down.
So this is in addition to the patching that Wilco's doing?
Yes,
Okay,
so they lowered the sewer manhole down,
right.
but that should be addressed very quickly, and so hopefully that's done by the end of the week, like I said, if the rain holds up. We had a minor mechanical failure on the copper pilot line in the pump station right here. But that was addressed almost immediately, and we already had the copper line fixed, but we're gonna have to do some drywall repair inside the pump room on the ceiling. So when the copper line busted, it just shot up a hole, not a hole, but it punctured through the drywall just because of the pressure. But I already contacted a guy to come out and look at it and give us a quote, so if you guys see that in the next month or two on the invoices, that's what happened. Very minor though, and the copper pipe was almost, 30 years old, so it was just on its last leg. So, there are no write-offs this month. And just a heads up for the next meeting, I will have a lead and copper proposal to present to the board for a vote. That is the lead and copper survey, and I can speak more to that next meeting. Gray Engineering, they have opted not to do it, so now it's in our court, but we already have a proposal to give to you guys, and that'll be the only actionable item next time. But other than that, that's about it.
Okay, great. So at the last meeting, your contract was up and we voted on it, but we also asked the subcommittee, and I'm looking at the two of you. I think it's Shoemaker and Roberts. Services.
Oh, I
To,
saw that, yeah. we
yeah,
done that.
so you guys need to meet, and I'm gonna direct you to meet and hopefully come back to us by November or December, no, let's say January, because there are some areas that we need to.
No, we were trying, like, it just didn't
We
work
tried.
out for both of our work schedules this week, didn't work out. The days,
He's in session.
the days, yeah, the days I was figuring out.
That's okay, so let's move it to January is a target date for you guys to bring back.
Yeah.
And also, the rest of the directors, please look at that, contract and redline it, because there are several things that I want us to discuss.
Okay, would
Yeah,
you
that sounds good.
send that to us?
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah,
Yeah,
appreciate
good
it. All right, safe travels.
Yeah, be safe. And we
Okay,
appreciate it.
report from TDS, do we have anything?
It's in the packet.
Okay,
The only thing I do want to recommend is the next time we do a bulk pickup, let's try not to do it during CODA weekend, because TDS provides all the trash containers and trucks for them as well. So I think if they didn't get there till after 9, on Saturday. The trucks didn't, my neighbor was there in line and texted me.
Yeah, they were there before then.
They would have Dave
No,
running it.
there was
There
one,
were trucks, no dumpsters.
right, yeah. So that was an issue, because my
Yeah,
neighbor was there.
Yeah,
We've
no,
been
I was
doing
there
it
too.
every year at the same, on the same
No, I know,
weekend.
I'm just asking that we look at another date
Okay, well,
besides.
the subcommittee can work on that?
We can do that.
Yeah, that'd be
Thank you.
perfect. Okay, stormwater, anything on that?
We don't, just to tag on, we'll be very quick here, what David said, we did, in terms of stormwater considerations relating to NFM, we did catch up with Kathy Mitchell and Judge Carter, Quidity Engineering, about water quality considerations relating to that site.
Good, okay. Report from services subcommittee.
No, we did not.
Yeah, we
did not.
tried to
We
meet
tried.
twice, but so
Yeah.
we're still trying to meet.
That's okay, all right. Legal, Sean.
I had two directives there in here, they've both been completed, beyond that, I don't have anything else for you guys. I can skip down 24, we just did, and under 25, I'm happy to walk through that real quick.
Has everybody had a chance to review that? Okay.
Most importantly, Chris, have you had an opportunity to look at it?
Yes.
You good with it? So there's a desire to get an agreement in place with Chris for the work that he does for the district. I did my best to capture his duties. And then in addition to that, you'll note that, can you flip that page for me? So everything in here is generally what he has been doing. And then under miscellaneous, we have a provision that contemplates contractor availability. Chris, I know this hasn't really come up yet, but basically it just says that if you're gonna be out, help us out here. And we'll work through it. And then there's a confidentiality provision here that just confirms that Chris, any sensitive information he has will be used exclusively for his work that he does for the district. Happy to answer any questions you might have for me, and try to keep the agreement as simple as possible.
Okay, so the one thing that I had was, and I've already shared this with Sean, and actually we should have said something to Tripp about it. Every contract that we have, we should have a link or an attachment to our supplier code of conduct. Right, or it's a vendor contractor code of conduct, not just supplier. So we will make sure you have a link to that so you can read it. We don't need to sign off on it, but, Rick?
So the number C is the confidentiality, and that kind of covers proprietary, that the videos belong to the district.
It's on a cloud, it's on our district cloud.
Right,
Yeah,
but I just want to make sure that
we can add that in. I mean, he's working on behalf of the district and it's posted on the district website, but I can.
I mean, I think the confidentiality is about like, if we give them the password to our systems to access them, he keeps those confidential. You know, I would assume, Sean, like, we're a government entity, like, is there any law that lets contractors own product they make for government entities?
I don't think so, we can insert some language in there.
Yeah, I think that's what
I can tell you as a government contractor myself, it's always in there,
yeah.
or almost always in there, that they own it.
Yeah, I
Of course,
think
you
we
own it,
should
who else
do
would own
that.
it, But
Oh, well, I
They
didn't
say it
know
anyway.
if it was,
It's
like,
not anything
it's not
we
the
do,
contract,
it's
it's
just-
covered in statute, right?
yeah,
So maybe we add something, a provision to that, is that fine with you?
Okay.
That would be,
Just that anything would is the property of the district.
Yeah.
Okay, so, do I have a motion to approve with these suggested amendments?
Motion.
second,
oh, that's fine, I'll let you do
second.
it.
Johnson was the second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Number 26, I added this. So in looking at the bills and invoices, we had a resident that reached out to Denise to ask for where he could find the agenda in the packet. And that cost us money every time any of us, including residents, call Denise or Sean. We also had a resident reach out to David Gray. Now, David Gray doesn't itemize his invoices, but it took David time to respond back to this resident. I talked to Director Johnson about this during bills and invoices, and we talked to Taylor about it. And our number, we definitely want full transparency. But I also think that we need to be very careful with our money and how we're spending it. And so anytime, I would like to suggest, I talked to Sean about it as well, anytime a resident does reach out to, say, David Gray or Denise or Sean, that they direct them to the GM, because the GM 9 times out of 10 can answer those questions. And then if it is a question that does need Sean or somebody, that's a different story. But if we had 10 residents reach out and ask Denise, where can I find the agenda? Where can I find the
How do
packet?
they know to get in touch with Denise?
It was a former director.
They may also know because, a lot of people, like when before I was a board member here, but on the title lawyers board, they, as president, I would get a regular blast,
Okay.
so.
Oh,
a
yeah,
number
so
of
they
people
already
on
know.
this
So
bus
you
would-
already knew what it was, didn't matter, okay.
Yeah, I was on.
Yeah, I was
part
gonna
of the
say,
list, so-
even when I was over, yeah, I knew that Denise had the agenda, and I would have thought to call her, but I would say also, Lisa's our point of contact for PIRs, right? Like, I mean, I think our PR, we should, you know, since if they want something that's not publicly available, wanna make her, is available, but is not, requires a PIR, we should still be going to the same person.
Yeah, and the other thing is that if Lisa's involved, then she's gonna see a trend. Like if 6 residents are asking the same question, well, then it's a trend and maybe we need to increase our communication with residents. So Director Johnson.
I was just gonna say, my initial, not concern, but my initial thought was no less information gets out to the residents,
Right.
right? So like if that person was looking for some information from David Gray, they would still get the information. And it may still come from David Gray, but it's gonna go through, and that way it kind of prevents, it makes sure that if there's a trend of data, right? Like if everyone's having trouble finding the agenda,
Right.
then however it's available is clearly not working, because everyone's confused about where it's.
Sure.
That kind of thing. So that's why,
Yeah.
that was my thought.
And in talking to Taylor about it, because it was Bills and Invoices where it came out, Taylor's like, yeah, I really don't want to have residents reaching out to me. You know, she didn't want to have that responsibility of having.
She can say that
answers.
too.
Well, I want Denise to understand, to not
Yeah.
answer
Mhm.
those, to suggest to that resident, reach out to the GM, she can help you find that.
Can we have the Amherst and Brown communication remove Denise's phone number and email address to,
I don't think you can do that.
okay, because we're publicly saying this is Denise's phone number and email address, and somebody's gonna reach out, right?
Where are we saying that?
It's on the top of
It's
the,
on page
It's on the top
one.
of- But I mean, Sean, my recollection here is because,
It's right here.
I mean, I guess at the top of the memo here,
Oh, memo.
but I thought since she's the person that posts them, right, for the publicly posted ones, am I wrong? The posting person has to have some contact back on that?
I don't think so, but, you know, on your district registration form with the TCEQ, if someone wants to go look at it, they can figure out who your law firm is, and, you know, I'm very easily found via Google, so is my firm, so,
I see.
yeah, so I think that, you know, my thought is I'll just get with Denise, and make sure she knows that she gets general information calls, that we'll just refer them back to Lisa, and I think it's good policy. I mean, it's the same thing that you guys have essentially asked contractors to do, so.
Yeah, it comes, exactly.
Yep.
And I guess what I would ask is, would you please, Lisa or Sean, also send a note out to the rest of the, like, the David Grays and everyone?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, good deal. Any concerns? Okay. I guess that's it for legal. Has anybody, 27 and 28, are you guys ready to discuss those policies?
27.
27? Okay.
I
Let's
mean,
go.
I'm not speaking for everybody, I don't know if everyone's.
Okay, 27. Let's do it this way. Do I have a motion to approve 27, the policy regarding interactions between directors and district contractors?
I think that one was not completely finished in our packet. There was like a per question mark, something like that.
Yeah, that was the thing, I was gonna say, the version we have that is posted, has an incompletion in it, so I didn't know.
Additional consideration.
Yeah,
Okay,
So who drew up the vision and mission statements? Where did those come from?
David Johnson and myself.
I think we could do some work on that.
Well, that's what we've asked. This has been on the agenda a couple of
Yeah.
times now, and I've asked for input from all the directors. So let's do this. One last time, please, directors, redline it and get it over to the GM before the posting, before Denise needs the packet information. And we are going to go off of that final red line as discussion in November. Okay?
but is this, given that this has a, like, I guess the point, I think Robert asked it, was this the red line y'all were working from, given, I guess, given the part of the additional consideration, is this the final document y'all are wanting to propose? Like,
This is the one, we did not receive any red lines from anyone.
no, I know,
Yeah.
that's what I figured, but I guess,
I think this is the working document.
It-
I
yes.
don't think it's. a
Okay.
working, yeah.
that's what the confusion I was having in this moment right now, I was like,
I don't think it's been.
this is still working, okay, I thought there was a Because I did not have any edits, but okay, that, okay, I
All
much
right,
more
and then
understand.
I'm gonna direct the GM to remind directors a week out before it's due to please send it, because I know sometimes it kind of gets buried with all of us, okay? And let's do the same thing for 28. So I'm hoping that in November, we either approve these, we have more headlines and it goes back, or we take them off the agenda, okay?
Okay.
Code of conduct, do we have anything on that?
I do.
Okay, I do want to just let Director Johnson and Director Roberts know that last month, we did go ahead and add some language to the code of conduct that basically says, what it was last month, right? Okay, that we do adhere to the Roberts Rule of Order, so that, like, it was like one sentence that Sean added in there.
Really,
So-
Roberts, like me?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that your book of order?
It is.
Okay, so I just wanted you guys to know that that change did take place. And in November, I think we all need to sign off on the code of conduct again. So that's an annual sign off. Miscellaneous board and subcommittee directives, I don't think we have anything there. Future board meetings, so let's discuss just real quick, guys, November and December, because we normally meet on the fourth Wednesday of the month, fourth Wednesday of the month.
November, December, we do third.
But actually, so Lisa and I were talking about it, and I want you guys to give me some feedback. So for November, we were thinking about having our meeting on the 15th, if everybody's good with that, which is the 3rd. And then December, the
20th.
there'll be the 20th, but that is really into getting like 5 days from Christmas. So we were suggesting maybe doing it on the 13th. And Sean even suggested, if it is, and we'll have to look at the agenda, if it's a pretty quick meeting, that we may have our board dinner with Armbrust and Brown and Crossroads that evening after the meeting.
And the big question would be with Taylor, can she get the bills paid by the 13th?
Yeah, let's check on that. And
She
then,
said yes.
We'll check with
Oh.
her, but I can almost assure that they have been working to do it by the 10th. We can shorten that by the 5th, so that way they're able to get all their bills and invoices in, as long as we give 2-week notice to the vendors prior to.
Yeah, 'cause some of
I think
them,
we'd be
like
able to.
PEC and all of them, or bills that come in at a timely, they're just.
And if by then you all pass it, then Taylor and myself would be signing those checks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Okay.
So we're saying the 13th of December?
yeah, does that have any, give me a
But you
heart
have to have
right now?
approval from the board, Lisa, to sign those checks, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
let's,
for you, David?
Sure, absolutely.
Sure. Of course, I like that attitude.
okay, but
Instead of our.
so November will be set. Denise will know that November's a set date, but if anybody comes up in November and has any issues with December, we can discuss it again if we need to move it to the 20th. Okay,
That's
Great.
John.
thank you, Director
Second.
Roberts. Okay, shoot.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thanks, guys. Hey, this was really good. It's just 8 o'clock, so thank you, and thank you everyone for attending.